Hello, my name is Calum. Joining me today we have Duncan and Francesco. We have just been exploring 5 fabulous drams and we'd like you to join us for the July Outturn Podcast.
I like doing it.
I was teeing up you to look very smart there, and you just trying to throw me under the bus.
No, you were trying to throw me under the bus.
How is that throwing you under the bus?
Right.
All right, so this is cask number 1.294. It's called Textbook. Distillery number 1, the first distillery that the society is bottled from.
Delicious. I would say it's a textbook.
Textbook dram.
We have Duncan Gorman. How are you?
Nightmare to be here, as always.
It's a nightmare to be
No,
here.
no, I'm joking.
He's not feeling his best. He's got a wee bit of the man flu, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm sure you can sympathise with that. You strike me as a man flu kind of guy.
I've always got man flu. I also have 2 small children, so yes.
Constantly ill.
Also, we have Francesco Ramella.
Ramella, come on.
You've never told me what how to pronounce your surname.
But there's no E.
Oh, okay,
Actually, there's an E, actually.
You don't even know how to spell your own name.
Ramella.
Look, his glass is empty, believe it or not. So Francesco is joining us today for a few different reasons. You've been with society for a wee while.
6 years, yeah.
Cool. Let's talk about you
Veteran.
later because
All right.
I think we should pour a dram.
That's a good idea. Where do you want to start?
Well, this is the thing. Normally, I would say we do bourbon, sherry, peat type thing,
Yeah.
but the bourbon's quite old. So I was going to maybe suggest
wanna
we start
change it
off
up?
with a couple of sherries.
Go against
then
the
the
rules.
older, mix up a little bit, and
Why
then do
not?
the older bourbon.
Sounds good.
Do you fancy grabbing the?
Oh, here we go.
I'm far too
So
important
I decided
to even move.
we start with this one.
At least he hasn't
Oh,
clicked his
decided to
fingers
like
this
it.
time. Oh.
Right, let's get it open. Crack it open, and you can tell us, whatever needs must. Sorry, and also I must say it wasn't just for shits and giggles. Can I say that word?
It's true.
That I have a map here because one of our themes this month is
Should I pour it?
exploring the outdoors. Duncan, maybe you want to tell us more about
Yeah,
that?
adventures in the outdoors.
Adventures in the outdoors.
So yeah, we brought in a couple of props as Calum always
should have been outside,
Calum didn't
didn't
even
it?
do anything this, which is why I've got these OS maps that are about 100 years old.
I'm lost. Help me!
Oh god.
That was really loud. Francesco, you're a cool, calm, collective chap. Would you like to talk us through just literally give us the details of this whiskey?
Yeah, so we got Distillery 11, up in the islands. Is the 61st distillery we bottled from them. 9 years old, fully matured in a hex Pedro minutes. But, so full maturation year?
Is it? You say how old was it? Sorry,
9 years old.
9 years. Yeah, it's full sherry maturation. Yes. Your Highlands sound a bit like your islands. I'm going to tease you a little bit now.
Highlands.
I can see how that can be confusing.
Great. Yeah. So this is from a distillery which we see fairly often. It used to be the biggest distillery in Scotland. It's known for its long fermentation, its tropical flavours. What are you getting? Nice wee colour here. Again, that must be the Pedro Jimenez. Pedro Jimenez is the sweet style.
Kind of sherry, yeah.
Yeah. You a fan of Pedro Jimenez type whiskies?
I actually prefer drinking like ex-bourbon cask, just because I'm kind of a geek sometimes and I really want to taste the distillery more than actual wood. But I do like when sherry casks are actually used properly, like this one here. So you can still get a tropicality of the whiskey coming through, and a bit of the sherry, a bit of spiciness.
Sometimes if it's too full on, it can get masked. It can
exactly.
Spirit. Yeah, you a fan of sherry?
I would have to say, as an unsophisticated whiskey drinker, I love a big sherry bomb. I don't know what it is. It's like the simplicity, but for someone that's, when I first started with the society, didn't really know much about whiskey. I would drink it.
Yeah.
Never really tasted it though. I remember the first bottle I bought from the society was as deep as the. I've got this wrong a few times because I go between the Mariana and the Marinara trench.
One's a soft.
One's a sauce. And that was just like massive sherry bomb, and I just absolutely fell in love with it because it was the first real like single cask strength whiskey that I'd have as well. So I do always have a soft spot for that. Like,
Would it be fair to say that you like big butts?
I love big butts.
And you can't deny. So apart from the
Pause.
So you think you're still getting some tropical flavours coming through this?
Yeah, I got some like
wouldn't you?
banana in there.
Yeah.
And this one's coming at £62.50.
Yep.
So at 9 years old. Yeah, a wee bit of spice.
Yeah, definitely, especially adding water can release much more kind of like spiciness. Still kind of like young spirit kind of flavor. Quite like it.
Yeah, I think that's really
nice and exuberant.
quite delicious.
Yeah.
It's a wee bit different. It's got a wee bit of edge to it, but it's also got this nice sweetness. So what overall, we like this one?
Yeah, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Excellent.
Wow.
Wow. That how you
No,
sum
I
up?
hate it.
Just wow. Is that not Owen Wilson that does?
Wow.
Wow. Wow. I want you to all drink it and then just say wow. Wow.
It's a big sip.
I hate we do that in camera. There's cash strength, yeah, even a bit of water. Are we ready for another dram?
Yeah, we can.
Always.
Sticking to the sherry theme.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk a bit more about you. If that's
Sound.
okay. You want to get some glasses then? Do you mind?
Glass boy, bottle boy.
Well,
You like to do things yourself.
if I'm in the middle, it just looks worse. Plus, I don't really want to get the back of my head on camera, now that I'm of a certain age. Oh. I almost said the name of the distiller there.
Just what you didn't.
So, before we talk, have a wee sip, take your time, but we'll chat a little bit more about Francesco. So, you've been with the society for a wee while?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been a member for almost 10 years.
All right, I didn't know that.
When I was 19. And joined here working in Queen Street. I worked here for 4 years. And then I've moved to the vaults. In the meanwhile, I kept doing some external tastings.
You've done quite a lot of external stuff, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've been
quite
doing it
a
for
lot.
wee while.
Yeah, 2 years now. So
You must enjoy that kind of...
some
like
people
the-
hate it, but I just love being on the road. I love meeting new people,
Like
and
getting
also
in front of the fans.
yeah, I like
Yeah,
it. I like it.
rockstar.
I like talking about whiskey, and I liked at the beginning, like going to new venues and meeting new people, members that, of course, working in the venues I've seen almost every week, but
Yeah.
not being on the road. But now every time I go to Aberdeen, Inverness, I still recognize
They're all
people that
chanting your
recognize
name.
me, and yeah, exactly. Don't call me Francisco, but
Francisco. Do you prefer to be called Francesco?
Fran,
Fran?
Francesco.
Fran
I know
quite a lot.
Francesco is difficult to
Not Frankie?
Franco.
Someone-
My teammate
someone
called
said-
me Franco.
Someone said to me, "They call you Franco," and I was going to say, you and I, we knew each other, to chat.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we'd never really worked together until we went to the Glasgow Whisky Festival last
yeah.
year, and we rocked it.
was
And
a
we smashed
good
it,
day.
didn't we? Oh.
Some
Sales were-
modest too.
Oh no, we absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, it was like busy day, did really
It
well.
was really, I really enjoyed doing that sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So when did you move from Italy then?
I moved here in 2018.
And what was it that made you move? Was it whiskey
The
that you
weather.
came for, or?
Weather. It was like, I really need
The weather.
to. Yeah.
You're just sick of that beautiful sunshine.
No, I mean, the whiskey, of course, and I was playing rugby at the time, so a mix of both.
And Scotland were slightly better than Italy at rugby, and then
They used to. No,
no, Italy-
no,
Italy
it's
well,
still
yeah.
a tough
We
competition.
are quite fond of taking
Um,
scouting talent from overseas to play for Scotland.
that's why Italy is getting better, just because we're now getting more like Maoris and South African playing for us.
yeah.
But yeah, and also I love the outdoors, so I'm really into my fishing and flesh and like
Oh really?
shooting
That's cool.
and hiking. So I think it's a good place to be for
And,
that.
and you've recently moved into the team to join with me.
Yeah, membership service we
Membership
do,
services, yeah. So, well, you've not even officially started. You've done a couple,
Couple of days just to get into the role, I
Yeah.
guess, and
and then
quite a lot to learn about.
so you could be if you phone up membership services. This is the gentleman you could be speaking to.
Ask for Francisco.
Ask for Francisco. Somebody else will reply. But it's going to be really great getting you and that team and alongside another colleague of ours, Matthew.
Matthew.
You know,
He's a good
getting
guy.
people in with some really good whiskey knowledge and some passion, enthusiasm. Have you been to Skye?
I've been to Skye actually with Society. I was doing a tasting there.
Not this whiskies from Skye. We've got a map from Skye here.
South of Skye.
South of Skye.
Yeah, I've been there 2-3 years ago.
Show me where.
Actually, I won't be able to tell you where. Society sent me there for an external tasting.
All right,
and
okay, great.
the weather was.
I
meant to
love the
be-
fact that you were able to tie that into work again. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so I was like, it's like, you know what, I'm gonna take a couple of extra days, and I went camping it was me
It's
and
such
Logan.
an amazing place, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it was so good. Well, it was like 27 degrees on Skye. I got sunburned
Wow.
on Skye.
Oh, when-
Probably I'm the only person.
When the sun comes out in
Yeah.
Scotland, it's like it is one of the most beautiful places.
It's a privilege when you
Yeah.
get sunburned. It's Scotland.
So we've been wild camping for like 2 days after my tasting, just like one of the best
Yeah,
experiences.
you've done that a few times, like tying in adventures with
Yeah,
your,
yeah,
with
yeah,
your tastings. It's
definitely.
quite a good
When I
idea.
can.
Why not? If you're traveling to do it with work, then and you've got a couple of days off, then you
Yeah.
might as well. And
I have to say, I've been extremely lucky for like 6 years in Scotland, or probably more. every time I went camping, fishing, or like on a trip, I always got the best weather. Apart from one night in Mal was horrible, but
And where?
Mal, I love Mal. Was
Mal.
like through a storm. I was like interesting being a tent, but yeah, I've been pretty lucky, so I can't really complain with the weather.
We'd planned to do that in Islay a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
We were going to go fishing.
Apart from
You've
Islay,
been in
yes.
Islay, right?
Yeah, we were to Islay.
Was that a good time?
2-3 weeks ago? Yeah, it was really good.
Well, when this comes out, it'll be more than that, but yeah.
Yeah, you always catch me up. But no, we had planned to go. Fran had taken his fly fishing rod there, and we were just waiting.
Oh, you guys were there together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
I
forgot.
showed up with a
I
massive.
knew that. I'm
Switch
sorry. What was mine like? Oh.
Can't trust you to
I
go.
thought it was the Three Musketeers. The old guy that tags along there.
But yeah, it was just sideways rain the whole time. It was pretty grim.
Wasn't ideal.
I was there 2 years ago now, or maybe it's 3.
Yeah, you got amazing weather, do you know?
I had amazing weather. Every night we're driving
Pretty
back.
good last year actually, but this year it wasn't great.
Yeah.
The first time I've been on Islay, been there like the first week of September, like 2-3 years ago, and it was like the best weather ever. We're just going for a swim every morning. It was incredible. That's have like
take it for
very
granted when it's
high
like that, don't
hopes
you?
when we went there last time, but yeah, no fishing. But when we went off on a boat,
We got good
was
weather
really
for the boat day because we were talking to people that Islay Sea Adventures who run it, and they said that a lot of the other charters that they had to take out that week were just cancelled because it was like sideways rain, gale force winds. It was brutal.
We got
When it's bad,
It was proper pub
we
weather.
got a wind of 4 hours sun.
yeah.
And then we just like went on
The
a
whole
boat.
week.
I think we should dive into
Yeah. What do you think?
Wait, we're too busy.
I've completely forgotten what we're even. What
Who
we
are
got?
we? What we're doing here again? Podcast check.
What day is it?
Bottles check.
Map check.
Map check. Right. Why don't you tell us?
Let me just get my bearings.
Just tell us this whiskey. You get your bearings? Does that come pointing towards the whiskey bottle?
Yeah, I found it.
There we go. You found it. So,
All right, so this is cask number 1.294. It's called Textbook. So distillery number 1, the first distillery that the Society is bottled from. It started out in an ex-bourbon hogshead, and its final cask was a first of all ex-Oloroso hogshead. 56.7%.
this one is full sherry maturation. Oh no, it's not. That's not a lie.
No. You're fibbing.
How old is it? 13.
Fibbing.
Right.
The label doesn't lie, Calum.
Definitely have to cut that bit out because I'm talking rubbish.
No, I quite like exposing you as a fraud.
The first distillery that we ever bottled from, I mean, you're probably familiar with the story, but like, our founder, Pip Hills, his friend had a farm up in Aberdeenshire, and he got friendly with one of the neighbours. The neighbour invited him in, and he has got a wee quarter cask, and he just sat by the fire, popped it open. And this is a time when blended whiskey was what everybody drank, and the quality of blended whiskey was not great. What we have nowadays is far superior. And Pip wasn't a whiskey drinker. He wasn't impressed by the blended whiskey that he tried. He'd had a wee sip of this, and he was instantly like, it was like a eureka moment, like, wow, what is this?
Yeah.
Because single malt wasn't even a thing.
Yeah,
drinking single cask whiskey, dropped direct from the
cask
cask.
strength, yeah. So as pure as it gets.
So it's always quite nice when we have a wee dram from distillery number 1.
Yeah, nice big toast. Are you going to tell us about their distinctive flat tops on the stills?
Well, I was hoping you might tell us about the rummager.
The rummager?
That's backfired, hasn't it?
I was teeing up you to look very smart there, and you were just trying to throw me under the bus.
Well, what you could have
does
said,
this from time to
you
time.
could have said is, no, you were trying to throw me under the bus.
How is I throwing you under the bus?
Right.
What?
Well, if you do that, we're going to have 50 cups. You
This guy manages people, by the way.
definitely can't put that in it. I don't even know what we're talking about.
I thought you were about to tell me.
If you'd said, can you tell us any more about this distillery, that would have been a perfect cue for me to like pretend. I look at my notes, pretend I'm not really looking at my
Yeah,
notes.
but surely you have more to say than they have
No,
distinctive flat
this
tops.
just basically there's a lot.
You could have said, it does this,
There-
there's more reflux, it goes back down,
Okay,
it's smoother.
okay.
And that's what I
Let's-
thought you were going to say, but
Let's not fall out, okay?
hold me back,
It's fine,
Fran.
boys.
They have the interesting thing about this distillery is they have the largest stills in the space. One of the largest stills in the space side. I'm not sure how the flat top. You're right. The stills have an unusual flat top, but basically it's a lot of copper contact, so they have a lot of. So they're very smooth spirit, but they also have direct fire stills. So really, really old school way of.
That's not very common, is it?
No, isn't
No,
there?
not many distilleries.
There's only a few.
Springbank, another one that has it.
Springbank has it.
Quite a lot of them like moving to like coil.
Can you-
distilleries.
A lot are going back to like.
Cool to visit a distillery like that.
Yeah,
I've been there for my
Yeah.
birthday a couple of years ago. It was like
To where?
amazing.
Oh, sorry, I led you into that one. Where did you go? Distillery number 1.
Distillery number 1.
Where did you go?
Number 1, distillery.
Yeah, and you got to see the direct fire.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was only us, so the guy who took us around was
Cool.
me and a couple of friends, and because it was my birthday, he gave me like a stupid amount of family cask to try. It was really, really good.
Nice.
I mean, it's the old school way of doing it, literally a fire under a still, or a campfire in a tiny wee still or whatever. But there are a few, with this quest for European. Put that.
It's fine if you don't like it. You don't have to.
In this sort of quest for more flavour, a lot of distillers are moving back to sort of. I didn't get a word in here, man.
Hello, how are you?
I'm trying to do some intellectual whiskey chat here, and you're
Try
quite
harder.
frankly, you're just skylarking around. Yeah, so direct fire. I don't think we're going to get through this one. Yeah, so it's the old school way of, but the theory is a lot more flavour comes from it. It's more
funny,
depth of character.
The same with like the worm tubs. There's so many different parameters in distillation where it's like you change one tiny little thing.
That's where I find it confusing because
Even in the way like you heat the still, the way that you condense the vapors, it all makes like subtle changes to the flavour of the spirit.
Exactly. So this one, it's lots of copper contact. It's large stills, so it's smoother. But then to counteract that, you do have the direct fire, which is going to have sort of deeper flavour. You're essentially burning, at the bottom of the stills, and that's why you have the rummager to kind of keep that going. I don't know if you're like, I'm not really entirely sure, scraping all this stuff off the bottom, but we love that. We love that kind of thing. This distillery is exclusively use Oloroso sherry, and this is an Oloroso cask.
I really like it. I like the kind of like almost like savoury, meaty notes that come through.
I get a lot of orange in the nose. I've not actually tasted it yet, but it's lovely. It's very citrusy, but it's also got that leathery.
Yeah, I had some water already, and it just like
I'm not sure.
get really, really nice and meaty.
Yeah, I mean it's not blow your head off. It's got a nice balance. When we're talking about the spirit having a nice balance, but the fact that it's been in bourbon and then into Oloroso, it's not going to be too full on in terms of sherry, but that is delicious. I would say it's a textbook
dram.
A textbook dram.
Does what it says in the tin.
Does what it says in the tin, and that one is it's £92 for that.
Not bad.
Right, what are we having next then?
More whiskey.
So,
Should we get into
should we go to the older bourbon before we hit?
Yeah, I'll say so before we go into
Before we get a bit
peat.
peaty. Yeah, cool. You want to do it? It's okay.
Yes, say please.
Turn around,
Say please.
Yeah. So I actually didn't do this on purpose, but last distillery we're talking about direct fire. This is a distillery that has reintroduced direct fire stills. Now this whiskey that we're drinking, because it's 22 years old, that won't be from the still that has direct fire, but they've moved back to it in that quest for.
Since they've distilled this bottle, they've changed that.
Yeah,
to-
like 2021.
Okay,
They've reinstalled the malting floors and they've got direct fire.
Yeah, so it shows the impact it can have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm making this up, but they have a greenhouse, and they use the heat from the distillery to grow tomatoes. Apparently.
I've seen things like before, yeah. Wow, nice.
Fun fact. Why is not your note?
Not my note.
Tomatoes.
Not on my notes, so it can't be true. But this distillery is one that you might not know that well in its own right as a single malt. They do release single malt, but it is one that we talk about as like highly recommended in terms of like the type of spirit they produce. It is just, it's a style that I really like. It's really sweet, fruity, waxy, easy drinking. This is 22 years old. I just feel like this is going to be something that I will love.
Got a beautiful nose. It's one of those whiskey you can smell for the whole day, You
just sit and smell the whiskey all day.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I might look like a fool.
No, go for it.
I'm almost getting like Parmesan cheese.
It's a bit kind of like funky,
the
cheesy.
I mean,
It's like a weird. Maybe it's the waxiness that I'm getting. It's like
Did you have lunch yet?
maybe just describing it wrong.
it comes to wax. It's not cheesy as an off.
No, not at all.
I know what you mean. And it's 53.3%. Did we do the rundown of the bottle here?
No. So distillery 19. This cask 107, 22 years old from the Highlands. First fill bourbon, 22 years old. Juicy oaky and vanilla, 53.3% alcohol.
Lovely. And so we've already had a wee nose of it. We're getting some interesting nose of this. Let's have a wee taste of it now and see what we're going. That's delicious. I probably say that word too much, but it's actually quite light. I mean, obviously, with time, it mellows out.
Yeah, it's very. I don't get any like kick of alcohol.
Probably I've not had.
No, at all. Especially moving from what we drank before.
Yeah,
it's like
I've not had
much
any,
more.
I might have had a wee tiny splash just to see
what happens.
But I get like lemon cheesecake. But
Cheese. It doesn't need to be vindicated right now. Cheese. It's not just because I had pasta for my dinner last night.
There's gonna be some interesting bites in this cheese. So the cheesecake thing for me was like we'll obviously get the lemon and it's creamy, but then the kind of short.
Short, like the digestive biscuits you get at the bottom.
Like brown sugar.
Almost get like some more like kind of like grassy green notes.
Yeah. I always think it's an interesting one to get people to say the name of the distillery, else we can't talk about it. But it's one of those ones that is pronounced nothing like it appears because it's some.
I've actually never heard of this. I've never heard of this distillery. I don't think.
You've never heard of this distillery?
No.
So do you not know how to pronounce it?
No, I have no idea.
I'm going to have to tell you off camera. Nothing like what it's spelled. Overall, we're enjoying this one.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the price: £155 per bottle.
Is that good?
I'd say so.
I'd say so, yeah.
Especially for this vintage.
Yeah, I would quite happily take that one home and sip away at it.
I think it's the most complex one that we've had today. So
Yeah.
Definitely the age speak out a lot here.
And that's it. It's the cask, and so is it so it's first fill actually, yeah. So quite not surprising, but like first fill for something that age. Quite often you might see second fill or even older, more like to see refill because every time the cask gets used, the influence is a bit more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
So at 22 years first fill, you probably wouldn't want to keep it going in that cask because then it might become a bit too much. Draw down from that cask. Whereas
takes away from
that's
the distillery
perfect.
almost,
They've
balanced it well.
yeah, they've picked it at the perfect time. Okay, I might just neck this one because it's so nice.
I don't know if you guys have seen the.
We're still on the podcast, right?
I'm about to interject with some very, very relevant content.
It just sounded like it was just to say something else.
About.
Hey, you guys, you're watching what are you watching on TV at the moment? I don't know. Like, tell me what you're gonna say. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw the BBC released a video recently of this guy who cycled from Aviemore side of the Cairngorms all the way through the Larry Grew
Yes, well,
to Aberdeenshire.
that was getting shared around.
And he was stashing his whiskey along the way. So he's got like 4 or 5 stashes of
What was
whiskey.
his name again?
He cycles. I have no idea.
I've never seen it
can't
before. It was
remember his
brilliant.
name.
Did you see this?
No.
It's been shared around the office, but it's no. Yeah, he
So
did the Lion Grew, which is the Lion Grew is the highest mountain pass in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 30 miles or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
I've walked it, and it took me like 10 hours to walk it. And this guy had his bike. And it's like it's on a path you cannot cycle
a
on.
1-speed bike, like no gears, no suspension, just this guy and like just this guy in a dream, basically.
Yeah.
He's just going for
And
it.
he's got these bottle stash. He knows exactly where they are. He stops at a pub and has 3 pints, and he's back having more whiskies. He finally gets to where he's going to see his pal, and chaps on the door, and she's not in.
I actually seen the just the final bit.
And he's not bothered. He's like, oh well.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, but anyway, it's that kind of idea of just like getting out there, just doing it, having an adventure responsibly.
You don't need to consume as much alcohol as that, but
No.
there's nothing better than having a wee dram.
Yeah, just a taste, because it tastes completely different depending on where you are, the environment, what you've done that day. If you've walked, if you've cycled on a 1-speed bike for 30 miles.
Like the drum we had on Islay.
The what?
The Distillery 29 we had on Islay. When you were taking pictures of that, it was just amazing.
Wow.
It was just like the right whiskey in the right place. It was just so good. It was like so nice and salty and peaty. We're just being washed by the waves, trying to take pictures.
Yeah. This was on our seafood sail. And we were sat in the bay overlooking Distillery 29 with a glass of, what was it, 24 year
It was
olds?
23 years old from what I was sherry.
It was
so
special.
good.
Special.
Lovely.
I'm going to get glasses before you snap your fingers at me again.
you want to grab the last 2 bottles there, and we can have a vote on which one we're going to open. Well, we're opening both of them, but in which order?
What do you think?
Right, why don't you? So, you want to tell us a wee bit about what these are?
Mm-hmm.
An idea, if you don't mind, because we're going to chat a little bit. So, you've worked a lot of time in venues. We always do a wee section, and we're talking about what's on in July. Mm-hmm. Have you got any highlights for us coming up?
In July, well, I'll be at Society. Will be at the Scottish Game Fair up in Perth.
Is that like a Highland Games type thing?
No, it's just like a. It's like a
game fair, right?
Yes, it's like fly fishing, shooting, dog, like country clothing. It'll be quite nice. And there's a tasting here. I think on the 31st of July is World Whisky History. So all of the new wave distillery from all around the world, and Nicola will put like a bit of history together in here.
Oh, right, Queen Street, right? Okay.
And there's also Woven takeover down in London. That seems quite interesting.
Nice.
Open them all, right?
Yeah, I just opened them up. That's fine.
What do we go for?
Well, so basically we've got a single. I'm going to say single cask, but we're supposed to not say that too often.
Single wood vessel.
We've got one of our sort of core bottlings from distillery number 121, the green bottles, but this one here is a little bit different. It's part of our heresy range. Mm-hmm. So
they're both kind of unique in their own way, because the Fife peat potion has taken peat back to Fife for the first time in decades, probably. And then
so this is great.
Yeah, well, you're interrupting my flow here, man. Let me.
I'm enthusiastic.
And then Distillery 121, there's 2 distilleries on this island, and this isn't the one that's known for running a peated expression. Is that right?
Absolutely. So, basically 2 things that aren't necessarily known for Fife's not necessarily known for being peated malt, and this distillery from an island, it doesn't normally.
What island?
What island? That's West Coast Island.
Well.
What you choose? It's up to you.
I'll go for this one here because it's bourbon, and then the RSC is in sherry, so we can finish it on that.
Oh,
what do you think?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Let's do it. Duncan, do you want to tell us the name of this bottle? No. Okay, it's called I Then Produced My Rapier. Do you know what a rapier is?
No.
Okay.
I know there's like rape seed. I don't know.
It's a sword. Yes.
Is it?
We're getting some motions from behind the camera there. It's a sword.
I've never heard that
I'm not
before.
sure. It must be like a quote from something like a poem. Or
if you get the reference to that, let us know.
In the comments, let us know, because we're clearly clueless. We're uneducated, fools.
Uncultured.
Yeah, exactly. So first fill, ex-bourbon. This is the medium peat, isn't it? Yeah.
I will say I mean, the profile is peated, yes.
So it's like,
and I'll probably agree with it.
Yeah. So this is a fairly new distillery in terms of distilleries who've been around, actually some distilleries have been around for 200 years, where this is more like 30 years. So it's still technically, it seems like a long time, but in terms of whiskey, it's actually quite young. But it's got a great reputation. It's like popular. And I have tried peated expressions from that distillery before, but I don't think I've ever had one from this distillery.
It's a society
one, yeah. And it's quite exciting because they have another distillery which is even newer, which is known for producing only peated.
Peated, yes.
This might give us a wee indication of what's to come. Yeah.
It's a really great price point as well. Only £59 for 9-year-old single cask strength.
I think it's a great dram, especially when people want to approach peated whiskey for the first time.
Yeah.
And you still get quite a lot of sweetness coming from the distillery. I get loads of lemon peel on this one. And then the peat, it's not just a punch in the face of peat. It's well balanced. And
you took the word right in my mouth. I completely agree with you.
The first thing I got was the sweetness before the peat.
It's a wee bit of kind of coal dust kind of peat.
Yeah.
But it's not medicinal. It's not a bonfire. It's I might
actually buy a bottle of that. that's my perfect level of peat, because it's there's a time and a place for these massive overwhelming meaty peat.
You don't find yourself finishing the bottle too quickly.
Sometimes, whereas this is just
day drinking peat.
Day drinking peat.
Is that afternoon peat?
Day drinking's the best thing to drink, really. Yeah.
Sensible.
Yeah, it's sensible. Why don't we leave this one here?
Yeah.
And then we can maybe compare it to the next one.
Yeah, I like that.
A couple of
do it.
peated rams.
Yeah.
So we just need you, young man, to grab some more glasses. Thank you.
Glasses.
You still haven't said please.
Have I not?
No, I told you to say please last time, and then
I'm
you just
sorry.
ignored me.
I'm sorry.
Still haven't said
Still
please.
haven't said please.
I like doing it.
You like that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Like you've been like that
That's
so
what
far
happens.
away.
It all falls apart in the last ram. We're spilling, we're clinking glasses, and to be honest, you can look on the table here, we're just having tiny wee sips, so we are being very sensible. Why don't you tell us about this one? You seem to have a wee bit of knowledge about this one.
Yeah, I definitely haven't used all of that already. So yeah,
Oh, right, okay.
this is a couple of different casks from a Fife distillery. It's a mix between peated and unpeated. And it's a combination of a first fill bourbon barrel.
Is that on it that it's a combination of peated and unpeated?
No, but I know that as
Yeah.
insider
Yeah.
information.
And it's a new distillery as well. And they're very forward-thinking new distillery.
Yep, progressive.
Yeah.
Breaking down these ideas of abiding to your regional character, which we're all about in society, kind of showing that any distillery can create any type of flavour.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you interrupted me again, I'll finish. It was a first fill bourbon barrel,
Doesn't
and
like
an
it today.
Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez butts. So, there you go.
Just not saying anything.
That's okay, you just wait until I finish speaking. It works too.
Do you want me to leave?
No, I don't want you to leave.
Okay. Yeah, so you can tell the colour's a wee bit darker, isn't it? And that would be the
Yeah, it is, yeah.
sherry influence. Well, it obviously doesn't tell us how peated it's going to be, but it's a combination of peated and unpeated, so I wouldn't imagine it'd be too heavily
No.
peated.
No.
What are we getting? Francesco?
Yeah, it's almost like very, very little peat on the nose, but on the palate it's just beautiful, like bonfire kind of smoke. Compared to this one, probably it's a bit more kind of like phenolic, not too much, but this one here is just like just burnt kind of wood, burnt
The
paper.
last one more burnt, you think?
No, this one is much more kind of like phenolic,
Yeah.
like classic West Coast kind of whiskey. When this one here is just like much more gentle on peat level, I
It tastes
guess.
very different.
Oh yeah,
They are different. It's almost a little bit more mossy peat
Yeah.
in this one.
It's kind of a great example when people would say, I don't like peated whiskey, but if you get to try a couple different variations, if you have like a really heavy Islay meat bomb from like Ardbeg or something like that, compared to this one on the West Coast on a small island,
Yeah.
and then this Fife expression, like they're all so
the
different.
three different whiskeys is
Yeah,
incredible.
That's
Yeah,
one of it, isn't it? I just think pretty simple, pretty obvious, but we're talking about bourbon and how sometimes sherry or peat can be a bit too much. But that's all you're doing is you're just adding other layers of flavour. So if you get that balance right, then it can be absolutely smashing. And like you said, there's so many different variables of the type of peat you can get, and obviously different types of sherry and other fortified wines. So
Which is why like the
possi-
heresy range. I'm sorry, I've interrupted you now as well.
it's okay.
It's why the heresy range is like so popular now, because the whiskey team just have that freedom to just experiment with different cask types, peated
A lot
runs,
of fun,
unpeated runs.
I think, yeah.
The possibilities are just endless, and they could just have a good laugh with it and see what works.
And you don't really need to worry too much about how much water you need to add. They brought it down to the to the right level for you, and I think that's fantastic. And I would say that it's probably a similar level of peatiness, but just different kind of flavours you get from it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that was lightly peated. It'd probably fall into the medium sort of peat for me, but yeah, and you get a wee bit of the PX and also in there, a bit of sweetness and a bit of any spice, oranges, raisins.
Yeah, look, there's a little spice, a little pepper. For me, not much though.
it's like leathery tobacco nose.
Yeah, nice. Normally I go, so we like that, yeah? But I don't know what to say now. I'm just going to assume that you enjoyed that last ram because I certainly
I loved
did.
it. I think
Yeah.
certainly the 121. I think that was my favourite dram from lineup. And
Oh, yeah?
yeah, that combination of like sweet and smoke it's my ticket.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate that we get to sample such lovely whiskies all the time. And then we have it's hard to open a bottle and not be overwhelmed by how wonderful it is. But
It's very easy to stand up saying it's another nice whiskey, but really the best way is to just try and get your hands on each Outturn, taste them yourselves, and you'll realise that Words don't do it justice sometimes.
And you can't really go wrong. It's just different, and yeah, get out there and get exploring. I don't really know how to wrap this one up.
Do you have any adventures? Are you going summer
I'm
holidays?
I'm going on holiday. Well, actually, so when this comes out, I'll have been on holiday. I'll spend a week with my family, my 2 young daughters, in camping in southern France.
Oh,
And I
nice.
say camping, it's Euro camp, so it's like a mobile home type thing.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's still quite a little bit adventurous.
You might end up camping.
I might, whether I get kicked out or I've
Yeah.
had enough and I'll go and pitch up a tent somewhere. Yeah.
What about yourself, Fran?
Pretty similar kind of holiday would be in Sardinia in August. I've been down there in ages. My grandma's from there, so I feel myself at home when I'm down there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be warm though, like 40 plus degrees.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No
I think-
bears to worry about there.
No.
No. Well, we're talking to Fran about.
Yeah, where I'm
he was
from, like
camping.
we definitely have
You're not
wolves
talking
and
about
I can't
Fran.
have bears.
Yeah, I was talking about Fran.
Because he's a bear.
It's a bear.
No, I wasn't referring to Fran.
As a bear.
No,
Oh, okay.
steady.
No, but hopefully the weather gets better so I can go out fishing a bit more often now.
You know, I mentioned I've got a couple of young kids, but I actually, you know, the last few years I don't get a chance to get out too much. When I used to do a lot of hill walking and do like holidays, long distance walks and Monroe bag and all that. But recently I have been able to do the occasional one, which is great.
Yeah, you went out with Mummy.
Yeah, I went out with one of our colleagues.
Friends of the show will know.
Yeah, and actually two of my colleagues.
Anthony.
We've been out twice recently. We did a walk round Aberfeldy and Kenmore. We're going to go up Schiehallion, but the weather wasn't great, so it was a bit windy, so we decided against it, which is fine by me. But you know, Scotland's such a beautiful country, so you can get out there, get exploring. And sorry, what about you?
Yeah, no, you didn't even ask.
No, I was about to. I was about to ask.
No, we've been planning to go camping as well. Then the tricky thing with camping is
You
like
and the missus.
no, she
Boys.
hates camping.
My wife
Absolutely hates
my wife doesn't like camping either.
We went camping one time last year. I was doing some of the hills in Arica, and we were going to camp afterwards, try and wild camp, but there's a lot of restrictions there. And we came back down. I did a big day in the hill, and she'd run a half
Up the
marathon.
cobbler or Ben Name.
I didn't end up going up the cobbler because it was really windy, but
Mm.
I did the other two, Eamon, Name.
Nice.
But by the time I came back down, absolutely knackered. So we just tried to pitch up in a campsite. And she was just sat on her phone, like searching for local hotels. Like, please give me anything. But we actually had a great night. She ended up just going like there's a pub along the roads. Went for some good foods, a couple of pints, cheapest chips because you're not paid for anywhere to stay. But no, yeah, we'll maybe try and do something.
I've got a stag in July. We're going to go up to Ardlui. There's a wee campsite with Benglass Farm behind, where it's we teepees.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
doing a bit of speedboat, pub crawl.
Oh, nice.
I don't think we'd too much wandering the hills. I think it'd be more
Admiring.
well, it'll probably be more sitting in the pub. But,
Admiring them from a distance.
well, guys, thank you so much for you're always here, but thank you again. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us this month.
I remember your thank yous, and I just remember your please, and then we're.
Please join us next time. Please like and subscribe. Please share the wonderful podcast that we do here, if I don't say so myself, with all your SMWS member friends and many, many more. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.